Today, I'm going to let you guys know some of the credit hacks to fix your credit fast by yourself without wasting money paying these like credit repair companies. Hey guys, I'm Barbie Angel and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing everything credit. After I posted my first video on the tips for the home buying process, I got a lot of messages from you guys on how to fix your credit fast and things like that. So for my little disclaimer, I'm just giving you guys the tips that worked for me as well as the tips I learned while working in the the financial industry. So when we were beginning the just like the whole home buying process, like I said before, we had to raise my husband's score and we were able to raise his score like 100+ points in just about 30 days. So I'm going to discuss how to fix your credit yourself for people who have bad credit and for people who have like no credit history at all. So first, let's discuss what is the importance of having good credit. Well, for one thing, if you don't have good credit, you're always going to have like higher interest rates whenever you apply for anything, be it a home, a car, a loan, or a credit card. And higher interest rates means that you're going to be spending more money and nobody has time for that. Also, if you don't have good credit, there's a big chance that you probably won't even be approved for anything at all. So as I mentioned in the first video, there's a big difference between your credit score and your FICO score. I'm going to get a little technical, so I hope I make it easy for you guys to understand everything. So your FICO score is what about 90% of lenders use to determine like your credit worthiness or your credit risk. So your score is made up of 35% payment history, 30% amount owed, your 15% length of your credit history, 10% new credit, and 10% is your credit type. And also your credit score can be like 100 point different than like your actual FICO score. And what I've noticed is that your credit score is usually higher than like your actual FICO score. I have no idea why they have these two totally different scores, but that's just how it is. So whenever you're looking to apply for anything, it's best to go off your FICO score because like I said, that's most likely what is being used by the lenders or the creditor. Also, there's 3 different credit bureaus, which are Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. With the 3 bureaus, they each use a different scoring model to determine your FICO score. So basically your 3 FICO scores are not the same, and whenever you're applying for anything, they always kind of like choose the middle score to determine your FICO score. I hope that makes sense. So let's just say you apply for a mortgage, they'll run your credit and then they'll come back with your, your 3 FICO scores. Let's say your Experian is like 750 and then your TransUnion is like 780 and then Equifax is 735. The lender's going to use the 750 score because that's the middle score between all 3 of the scores. For me, my Experian score was the highest, while I think my husband's his highest was Equifax. And I tried to like see if there was like a way to determine, but there's no real determination to see exactly what score is going to be the highest or the middle score, honestly. Also, the way we were able to know our score is through the Experian app. So I think I pay like $15 to $20 a month for that, for our like Equifax and our TransUnion scores. My credit cards just kind of gave us that score every month. So like I said in my previous video, each lender or creditor will use like the 3 different bureaus and they pick which one they want to use, and they use and they all have like different scoring models for each type of loan that you apply for. So this Experian app was good for us because it gives you your FICO score and it gives it for like your home buying, auto loans, and for like banking loans. So when trying to fix your credit, the first thing you want to do, like I said in the first video, is to get a copy of your credit report. In order to know exactly what's on there, you need to have your credit report. So you can run your credit for free and get your a copy of your report on Credit Sesame or Credit Karma. And on these websites, you can like see your history and things like that. And then by law, everyone is entitled to 1 free actual like credit report every year from each bureau. And you can get that from annualcreditreport.com. And this website gives you completely accurate information. Everything on your report is what is on the 3 bureaus. And these websites are all totally free. So if you ever see like a website that asks for any kind of payment, do not use it. You can get all of this information for free. So once you've gotten your report, you want to go through it and you want to note all of your like derogatory or like negative marks so that you can see how to get them back into good standing. So the negative mark can range from like collections, missed payments, or even things that shouldn't be on your credit report anymore or shouldn't be on your credit report at all. So on that same token, if you have anything that's been delinquent for like 7 years, it shouldn't be on your history anymore. After 7 years, any collection or delinquency will fall off. So on annualcreditreport.com, they tell you when something's going to be dropping off your credit report. Like they'll give you the exact date. So I feel like that's a great resource to use. And once those things fall off, your score is going to raise like 40 plus points immediately. So the next step is to start disputing or paying off any like the derogatory or the negative marks, and just to have them removed from your credit report. I know people here it's not a good idea to pay off your debt, but that's not entirely true. What we did was anything that was in collections, we called the creditor, not the company. So the creditor information will be listed on your credit report. Once you call them, you want to, tell them like, hey, I'm looking to see what my balance is. I want to pay this account off, and they'll tell you the balance, and they'll usually tell you the balance, and then they'll be like, oh, you can pay like this smaller amount. And I know a lot of people say it's not good to pay off the smaller amounts because that shows like on your credit report. Like I forget what the wording is, but it shows on your credit report as well. But honestly, during our home buying process, we paid off a couple things on my husband's credit, and the only thing our lenders were concerned about or cared about was that it was paid off and that it was removed. Like they didn't care that you paid the smaller amount. So yeah, once they tell you how much you need to pay, then you would tell them like, please send me something in writing through email or mail that says if I pay this amount that you'll remove these things from delinquency off my credit. And then like after I pay, and then you'll send me like a letter stating that this amount was paid in full, this account is now in good standing. Once they agree to send you that letter, then you can pay the amount. And once you receive it and everything, then you can pay the amount. In like 30 days, it should be removed from your report as a charge off. And then about like 15 to 20 days, if it's not removed, then you want to dispute it. You can dispute on like Credit Karma, and Credit Karma will give you like different options. And the option you can choose is like this account has been paid or settled. And then you can click on that. And then once you dispute it, by law, the credit bureau has to look into the account. And once they, see that it's paid off after they've done the investigation, then they'll remove it from your report as well. So for us, we really didn't have to dispute anything because all the creditors just removed the charge off once everything was paid off. So after you're paying off the charge offs, my husband literally had nothing on his credit. So I added him as an authorized user on like 3 of my credit cards. That literally boosted his score like another 50 plus points, and every month his score grew about 10 to 15 points during our entire home buying process. So with him becoming an authorized user on the card, I have my good payment history and I have my great utilization balance, so that helped him a whole bunch. So that moves into my next point. With credit cards, especially when buying a house, you want to make sure that the amount that you use is less than 30%. That's your utilization. So basically it means like you're using less than 30% of the amount of credit that is available to you. So if your cards are like maxed out and you're only paying like the bare minimum, the $20, $30 a month, creditors or lenders, like they see that and they think that you're a high risk. So let's say your credit card limit is like $5,000. You want to make sure that the card balance never goes above $1,500. So that's just $5,000 times 30%. So if you want to know what your current credit utilization is among all of your cards, you can just add up all of your balances across all the cards, and then you add up the credit limits on each of the cards as well. Then you would divide the total balance by the total credit limit, then multiply that number by 100. I hope that makes sense. I'll have it on the screen for you guys. And then that will give you like your exact credit utilization amount. So if that total amount that you have is above 30%, you want to bring that down because that boosts your score as well. For us, I would use my cards like every month, and then I wouldn't even use more than like 15 to 20%, if that. Then I would just pay off the entire balance on the due date. This literally raised our scores so much every month. And you don't want to close your cards at all. Like I hear a lot of people thinking that they have to close all of their credit cards to have like good credit. No, like that's not the case at all. Like you want to make sure that you're paying off your balance every single month, and that is what's going to boost your scores. So for people who have no credit at all and you have no one to add you as like an authorized user on their credit cards, you want to see if your bank or your credit union has a credit like rebuilder program. I'm not sure if banks do this per se, or like if they have these kind of like programs, but I know the credit union that I used to work for had this program where they would approve you for like a small amount, and then every month you would pay on the due date, and that's how I know that, you know, paying on the due date is what kind of raises your score. Like I said, I don't know if banks do this, but I do know that my credit union did it, so you definitely want to check that out and see if you can find an institution that would do that for you guys. Another thing for people with no credit, if you try to apply for a credit card and you're denied, it's because you have like no credit history. So you may want to open like a secured credit card. So with the secured credit cards, you're basically putting your own money down as like a security deposit. That deposit is like your collateral, because the lenders don't know if you're a credit risk yet, because there's nothing on your history to determine that. Also, when you're shopping for a secure card, you want to make sure it's with a company that reports to all 3 of the bureaus every month. That way, you're sure that you're establishing credit history. It'll all be on your credit report, and it's all there. So guys, these are all the tips that I have for you on how to fix your credit fast. Like I said, we were able to raise my husband's score literally almost 200 points during our entire like home buying process. I'll also try to link some like resources in the description for you guys that I feel like may be helpful. If you found these tips helpful, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to join the family and hit the subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell as well, so you never miss any of my uploads. As always, I thank you guys so much for watching and for all of the support. Honestly, I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.